I'm not looking forward to this. We're not playing well. We've not got a lot of good players. But you're going along. I know you enjoy going to Ibrox, and I know you enjoy the banter, but this is different. You get a spring in your step, eh?
Yes, I think people have said it before, but most folk nowadays are actually sitting at Ibrox, waiting for the game to start, and a big smile on their face and very, very happy walking into Ibrox. And most importantly, walking out Ibrox with a big smile on their face as well, because we're producing the goods. So it's a kind of different. It's the same but different. Let's put it that way. It's difficult to imagine how it can be, but that's what it's like. It's really hard.
We've not lost a game yet, Bridge, have we?
No, I think
no,
8 games
you'll see where I'm
undefeated.
going with this. 8 games undefeated, and two league games, a League Cup game, 6 in Europe. That's 9, yeah.
9 games now, yeah, 9.
Two friendlies, 11. Ulster, how many of the games have you been at?
None this season so far, mate.
All right, so there's a message there, Bridgeman, isn't there? Please
absolutely.
keep away.
Don't worry, I'm over in September.
We're going for 55, mate. You keep away, we'll get it.
No, that's not the way it's going to be. I am going to watch the Teddies winning more often than not, all right? It's going to be different than the last 2 seasons.
You feeling it different?
Yes, mate, 100%.
All right, I hope. What do you think, Bridge? Is he a jinx?
Well, you keep saying he's a jinx. I personally quite like him. He's all right to me.
Oh, he's a nice. He's a nice
Bridge. Excuse me, guys.
You've seen some classic matches in the last few years, Ulster, haven't you? What was the culmination of Cloud Beath away?
Oh, well, it all sort of went downhill from there, literally, didn't it?
But you feeling it different, big man? Are you feeling positive?
Yes.
Is your club and all your mates, your friends and family, is there a difference in the talk?
Yes, mate. We all have belief now that we haven't had in a long time. I think the past few seasons, what we've had is blind faith, and hope more than anything, because we've watched teams, we've maybe had 2 good results in a row, and because we're desperate for success, we've put all our eggs into the basket, and then obviously it comes crashing down somewhere silly, like away from Dundee, or dropping points at home to Kelly and St Johnstone. I think this time round, we've played a good lot of games now, both in pre-season and in Europe and in the league, and we're yet to go behind, and I know that will happen eventually in the season, of course it will, but we've played a number of games now, actually, and we're putting a level of performance in every single game that's satisfactory, and what a Rangers team is all about and should be all about, mate. And I think that's why we all have the belief. We can see it in our team. We're a much better side and a different animal than what we have been for the last 6 years.
By the way, my record's not much better than you in some of the games I've seen in the last few years as well.
See, to be honest, I don't think anyone's record's been that great, because the team's record's been that poor,
But Bridge, when you're now going for your paper in the morning, you're skipping along that long road in Glasgow, do you feel a vibe? You want to see what's happening, or genuinely do you feel this is we're going in the right direction for the first time?
Well, first time in a long time. That's the God's honest truth. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I feel. And I'm normally quite easy Ozzy, but the truth of the matter is, I'm just buzzing, constantly buzzing, really and truly desperate to see my team and want them to win. And when they do, it's massive. It's just massive. The buzz we get and the feeling we get is incredible. Just great. So happy. I'm sure everybody feels much the same.
What did you make of the news that came out the club today, Bridgeman, about obviously this guy's been about for a while, and the finances seem to be slowly, I'll use the word correcting themselves, or moving forward, and we're coming out of this, I'll say, tunnel, mate, to get us there, and then we can stop talking about all this and we can start talking about the thing we love as the football. What did you make of the news today with the new director?
I think people like yourself have hinted maybe 18 months ago or so that there's money in the back there just waiting to come in. I think we got a bit of a shock when, for instance, Ali McCoist never put his vote through the last AGM, not the last, the previous one, should I say. And we lost the chance to get the Resolution 11 through, and then we got it through the last AGM. So we're seeing the culmination of a whole load of work getting done by virtually everybody in the club, to be quite perfectly honest with you, and it's starting to look good. You're starting to see the results. This guy was one of the guys that stepped in, and he bought, I think he bought a big chunk of Ashley's shares, over £1 million worth or something like that. So I'm very happy he's there, and it sounds as if there's a bit of finance in the background now. That's what it sounds like.
And it's global finance. Obviously, I don't know what the connection is with the club or where it's come from, but it's global finance, Ulster.
Yeah, it is indeed, mate. We just got to wait and see. This guy's obviously made his move to get a few more shares, to maybe take a wee bit more control of the club. I think we've heard for a while now, haven't we, with Dave King and others have been saying that they wanted to take the club as far as they can, but eventually, when the club gets on a financial sound footing, they're wanting to take a wee bit of more of a back step and let somebody else carry on the club. They just wanted to get it to a certain level. That's what they're trying to do. That's what we're starting to do. And who knows, maybe in a year or two, mate, could this be the man to end up being one of the main shareholders and owners of the club? That could be the possibility.
Yeah, we don't know. Just to let you know, Bridge, I know you've been waiting. I checked my Rangers pools this week. Not one score draw, brother. Yeah, but a good bit of fun, mate. A good bit of fun, and obviously a couple of shekels to the club, and all positive for me, mate.
Yeah. It's again, the extra finances, stuff that we can do that fans are desperate to do. The most important one we have to get fixed at some point or other for sure is the shirts thing. We have to get that resolved. Once you get that resolved, you get to your own. You're able to adjust things and pour money in from one source into another and manage your finances as quickly and as easily as you can. Then that's the area we want to get to. It might be a couple of years away from that, but I think I don't want to go too far in. But my honest opinion is that next Friday's a general meeting. They'll get the go ahead to do the share issue, and that'll take maybe a few days to a week. And then I think that everything will be solidified on the ground. So the infrastructure from a finance perspective will be there. The shareholders will be levelled out and everything will be levelled out. And I'm sure they'll be able to go to the courts and say, we don't really need blah, 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 blah. So the takeover panel thing might just disappear. That's the way I see it anyway.
You could be right, mate. They could be right. They seem to know what they're doing as far as eventually when they go to court. At the moment, they're getting a result. I just like his, like yourself, and I'll take it to Ulster first, but I just like his after front pages and making the headlines on the back pages, Ulster.
Yes, mate. Well, I think if you look at it, we're off the front pages a lot more than what we were. It's still a few wee issues to be resolved, mate, but most of it's about the football. It's just a matter, you have to stick on in there. We've still got things like Ashley is still kicking about, unfortunately, issues they got, mate. But I think we're getting there. If you looked at last season and season before and the season before, we were in the papers nearly every week. You were actually sort of cringing, turning on Sky Sports News to see what the next, mad thing had happened at Ibrox, and that isn't happening just as much lately, mate. So I think once we get resolve these last few issues, hopefully all focus will be on the field issues rather than off the field issues.
Bridgeman, that's what you're wanting, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what it is. I know, but obviously we actually can't separate it physically. Maybe a wee bit logically we can. From a supporter's perspective, we really don't want to know other than the end result of the board stuff. Let the board go and do what the board need to do, attend the meetings and do what they need to do, and let the fans know what the fans just want to know, or what they want the fans to know. And everybody will be happy. If we're going to sign a player, let's go out there and sign a player. That's what we want to talk about, and how good our team's been, and where we're going next year, and so on and so forth. And that's what we want to hear about. We don't really want to hear that we've got a shortfall on this and we've got a shortfall on that. Eventually you'll hear that once a year, what the situation is, and you can make up your mind what you want to do, say, or not bother with. But that's really, Ulster's right. What you want to do is just get on, support our team, and let's go on with our own business, which is football.
Yep, that's what we want to talk about, football. scoring goals, winning matches, winning trophies, and having a good time, Ulster.
Of course, mate, and that's what we've been all grew up with, hasn't it? Rangers winning trophies. It's been second nature. It's something that hasn't happened just as much of late. But I think when it does come, and it's coming, because there's no doubt about it's coming, I've got a feeling in my body that I haven't had in 6 years with this Rangers team.
It was 10 years with Bridge.
Well, it's coming, and I know it is. I can feel it. And I'll tell you, actually, I think we'll all appreciate it more than what we ever did before, because you always expected Rangers to be winning cups and win the league. We didn't win it this year. We're a bit disappointed, but we'll win it next year. Whether we've seen lately, mate, that you just can't take things for granted like that in football. So when it does come, mate, I think we'll appreciate it so much more than any in the past.
I hope you're right. Anyway, we've started this new feature that we're hoping to run in a regular occurrence about different clubs and supporters associations all over the world. We started with Plymouth True Blues. Did you enjoy that, Bridge? That was entertaining, wasn't it?
Oh, fabulous. I have to say I've enjoyed the whole thing, really and truly.
Yeah. And now, and shortly we'll be joined by the president of Nasser, mate, and it'll be great to hear what he's got to say. I mean, the passion for our clubs, it's the four quarters of the globe, Ulster.
It is, mate, and I tell you, I always knew it. I always knew that. But see, since being involved with the show, Ox, you really do find out how broad Rangers goes. There's guys from not just you've got Canada, you've America, you have Australia, but there's people in the Facebook, mate, signing in from Afghanistan, they're signing in from South Korea. They're all corners of the globe, mate. They're listening to the show when they're supporting the Rangers. It's just massive, mate. And I think people just forget sometimes, how big Rangers are. There was a talk on TalkSport not long ago. One of them were asking the question, is Rangers big outside of Scotland? And you just have to laugh, because the reach that Rangers have is global, mate. Absolutely global, especially since I've joined Twitter as well. There's supporters clubs on Twitter actually from literally every corner of the globe, mate. That would blow your mind when you really look into how many there is.
Yep. These Ulster Scots get everywhere, Ulster.
You're right, mate. Dominating the world.
Anyway, if you two chaps don't mind going on mute, I think Gary's close to joining us, but Fox has dug out a theme tune for this, and we've called it On the Buses. Thanks for that, Fox. Good evening, Gary. How are we doing, mate?
Doing really well, Ox. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Listen, first and foremost, thanks for taking the time to come and join us during one of your summer afternoons, mate. It's a pleasure to speak to you, and thanks for taking the time to join us. For those who don't know, Gary is the current president of NASA, the North American Rangers Supporters Association, and you've held that post before, Gary, yeah? Quite an honour to do it twice.
Yeah, it really is. I held it from, I think it was 2004. It was 2014 to 2016, and then was past president for a couple of years, and then was fortunate enough to be re-elected for the next couple of years as well. So a big honour and a big job to keep it going.
I hear that twang, and I don't pick up you were Canadian born and bred, mate. So what's your history? Where did you come from originally?
Originally, no, definitely not from Canada, for sure. Originally from Paisley.
All right, we've all got our crosses to bear, mate. We've not had that against you.
I know. I get that quite a lot. I get that even from folks over here from Clydebank, and that's a wee bit tough to take. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I get if you're from Glasgow.
It is the right side of the river, mate, and it is the north side of the river where Rangers were formed, you know?
Yes, I guess, yeah. So so originally from Paisley, and
right.
And had been part of a supporters buses. I think I don't specifically remember, but probably from about 10-ish years old or thereabouts. I was originally a member of the Tudor Loyal, and then went.
All right, okay, yeah.
The So Street Loyal was the bus I was on for most of the time, and then latterly, and before I emigrated back in 2004, I was just driving to the games, and I don't actually remember why I stopped going on the bus. It was probably a money saving exercise or something like that, or my wife at the time had said no more drinking, you just get straight home after the game. I'm not sure.
Oh well, you can always get a new wife, mate, if that was the case. You know what I mean?
Oh,
all right, so you've now started enjoying yourself. All right, that's fair enough. So you got involved with NARSA, you moved over there, and obviously, for those who don't know, NARSA, I think, started in the early 80s. 80. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Was it 83?
It was in the 90s officially.
93, sorry, 93.
Yeah. So we had. So when I came over, just a wee bit of history about my involvement. We, to be really honest with you, Ox, I didn't know anything about NARSA when I came over. I knew about the Rangers Supporters Club of Calgary because I'm in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada, and so I knew about them. And it was a few years. It was probably about 2 years after that one of the guys had came to me and said, "Oh, listen, we're bidding for the 2008 convention in Calgary, 2008 NARSA convention." I said, "Oh, that's terrific. Right. Good for you guys."
And how does that process work, Gary?
It's a 2-year process, typically a 2-year process, and the host clubs will put a wee bit of legwork in before the 2 years, but we try and work 2 years in advance. So, for example, at the AGM this year, we would have voted on who's going to be in place for the 2020 convention, basically. So we had went in in conjunction with Tourism Calgary in 2006, unbeknownst to me, and the guys had said, "Oh, this is interesting." I said, "Well, let me know if you need any help. I would be happy to try and organise whatever you need help with." And it was probably one of the worst offers I've ever put out there in my life, because everybody it felt like everybody took a step back and said, "Gary's organising it, everything's A-OK." So we had the convention 2008, and that was really my first involvement with NARSA. So I hadn't been at a convention before. Only one of our members had been at the convention before to make the bid in 2006 down in San Francisco. So I then got a chance to meet some of the guys during the planning stages, and just it's a cool organisation. It's got a lot of prestige and a little bit of history and class and stuff like that. And then once we were done and dusted, kept in touch primarily with the then treasurer Bobby Smith, and just through paying for games and things like that. And then up in 2012, he had mentioned the fact that the vice president role was up for grabs, and I had said, "You know what, I'm quite happy just doing what I'm doing in Calgary here. I'm enjoying life and stuff, but good luck. I hope it goes okay." And he kept on at me for a wee bit, and so I put my hat in the ring for it and got a nominator and a seconder, and then was fortunate enough to be voted in as VP in 2012. Served that for 2 years, and then was voted in by acclamation in 2014. So that was my introduction to NARSA. But back to the historical question, it was 1992 was when there was a convention that happened, which was I think essentially the birth of NARSA in 92, and it was then the year after NARSA was formed as an organisation. So we actually just completed our 25th year in business, if you like. There, just at the convention, we had a bit of a celebration there and some gifting for the folks that attended the convention. So yeah, 25 years in business is remarkable, I think, in any business, in any walk of life these days.
So who was the driving forces at the start? Obviously you weren't there, but obviously you would have been told, and you would have known, because they would still be about a lot of these individuals. So who was the driving forces to form NARSA?
Yeah, the main famous one that we have, who's listed on our website and who certainly gets a lot of press, is a guy called Tam Plunkett. I think he was definitely the pioneer of that, and a fellow called David Murray as well. David was from the Bramalea Club, and unfortunately both guys have since passed. David passed a wee bit earlier this year. What we managed to do in our convention brochure for this year was we had 2 double-page spreads for both guys, we just called them NARSA's Gallant Pioneers, and put some nice photographs and some really nice words from some close friends and family of each of these guys. But to my knowledge, these guys, and definitely with some select others, you can't do this just on your own, had gotten together in Detroit, and back in the early 90s, and the vision was, we think we're onto something here. I would imagine the conversations were something along the lines of, the world is getting smaller. We can access this. We can get a community together. We can communicate properly with each other, and start to feel part of something big like we did when we were back home. And then I suppose really the rest you could say is history.
Yeah. So little acorns, and they became it's something that started in Detroit with guys having a conversation. Has spread to it's an annual event now. And people all over North America and the UK look forward to it, yeah?
Definitely. Probably our demographic from an attendee perspective now at the conventions is probably a 50-50 split between North America and the UK. It seems to be from a UK perspective, for sure, like the staple thing that's on people's calendars in terms of, I'm going to save my money, I'm going to spend the time coming over. A lot of them combine it with other touristy things. The good thing about our convention is we go around the continent. It's never the same place 2 years in a row or anything like that, that would get people a wee bit bored or a wee bit stale with the same place. We're moving around and honestly, going to places that we probably would never go on holiday if you were sitting there counting your money thinking, right, what do we want to spend this on this year? So you get to go to places like, Toronto and Calgary and San Francisco and Florida and places like that. We've been all over.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Florida a few times on holiday, mate, and I've ended up in the Fox and Hounds in Kissimmee.
Yeah.
And even me, who knew there was one of the games I was there was 2004. We lost. It was against Celtic, and we lost a goal in the last minute. And the place, you couldn't get in it. I had my lad with me who was only little at the time, but it was even a surprise to me how busy it was with in the mix of the voices, the North American and the UK, obviously tourists, but it was absolutely heaving. And up until they scored, it was a brilliant day.
Yeah. It's incredible, and that's what I haven't been to every NARSA club, unfortunately, but the ones I've been to, I just marvel at it. And we do it here in Calgary, but you take it a wee bit for granted because it's in your own hometown. But I just marvel at the effort and the passion and the camaraderie and the banter and stuff at each of the places that I've been fortunate enough to visit. You get a wee taste of the local culture. You get a wee taste of the local dynamic of the guys and lasses that have settled there, and it's just fun. It's just great.
The majority of your membership still expats, mate, or is some of that developed where some people who are maybe traditionally Scots or maybe Ulster who have got a connection with the club get involved? Do you still get some people getting dragged in as football grows in the continent?
Yeah, not quite as much as we would like. We certainly have an aging demographic here in North America where the folks that headed over in the 60s, 70s and 80s are aging, and our ideal scenario is that they're bringing their family and friends and colleagues up with Rangers the same way that we are living with Rangers as well. And then you definitely get not an expat community, just folks that are interested. We have the exact same in Calgary here. They're just coming along for the chance to be part of something bigger, for community, a little bit of culture and things like that. But we have we have an aging demographic that we have to try and basically get into the, to coin the phrase, to get into the hearts and minds of the youth here in North America, because it is, football, soccer as they call it here, is just booming, absolutely booming. The MLS is doing really well. The players that they're getting here now isn't typically players that are just at the very end of their career. They've got a lot of good things going on. And we just want to be one of these clubs that when the kids are growing up and they have a favourite ice hockey team and basketball team and baseball team and NFL, American football team, and then they're picking a soccer team, we want to just be at the table. You don't always have to pick Barcelona or Real Madrid or maybe, Bayern Munich and Manchester United. That we would have an opportunity to be one of the clubs that they would mind sporting the shirts and actually having a bit of an affinity for.
Why wouldn't you pick the world's most successful football club?
Nobody quite believes me when I say that very statement there, Ox. They don't, and I say, I'm telling you a fact. Like, I know I'm biased and a wee bit over-passionate about this, but it's a fact. We are more successful than any other club that you can mention in the world. And then you get the odd person saying, tell me a bit more about that. But other folks go, oh, Gary, you're really funny, and off they go with their day. I don't get it either.
I don't understand, but I don't understand why anybody would want to support anybody else, but that's just a personal point of view. So, Darcy, you mentioned that community get together, build on. What's their aims? What they try to develop? What's the package, mate? Because obviously it takes a lot of work to do the conventions, but it's not just about conventions, huh?
No, it's not. Our constitution right now, which is there for everybody to read, it's on our website. That essentially we were conceived and still today are there to get as many Rangers games broadcast live to our North American community here, and that stands true today, and that's definitely a part of that. So what that entails for us as an exec, we have an exec of 10 people, and within that we have a small RTV committee, and that's myself and the VP Brian Campbell and Davy McDowell, our treasurer, and we basically sit around the table with Rangers TV. We talk to our clubs and we say, how's your demographic going? What's your anticipation for this year? Where are we going? What challenges are we facing from an RTV perspective? In this day and age, the conversations are different in terms of being able to get pirate feeds and things like that, and so the exclusivity part is not quite there like it used to be 10 plus years ago. So then we get around the table with Rangers TV and we say, right, listen, we have to obviously negotiate our deal per game for the season in each of the different competitions, work that out, be the liaison between Rangers TV and their clubs, prior to and during game days, and just basically support that. That's really the nuts and bolts behind the scenes, the bread and butter of what we're trying to do. The conventions is basically just this machine that keeps rolling. As I mentioned earlier, 2-year cycles. We engage with a new host club, we engage with a new hotel provider, we provide support, guidance, advice and opinion to the folks that are organising it, and then kind of NARSA and everyone else rolls into town. We have a great event, and then we leave and we learn some lessons and we move on from there. It's it's one of these kind of constant machines that we have.
Run me through an itinerary then for the NASA convention, approximately, mate. I don't want to know about every single drink you have.
Yeah, we have there's what we call official and unofficial events, and that.
Oh, I'm an unofficial man.
Yeah,
carry on.
So the official ticketed events is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. Thursday night is our welcome night. Friday night is our Tam Plunkett Blue night, which is our cultural night, which is the most popular event. And then Saturday night is our grand banquet, which is live music. Everyone's suited and booted and dressed up to the hilt, and then we have a good send off. The unofficial stuff is the typically that the local club will have a wee welcome do on the Wednesday. And just anybody that's in town who's rolled into town a wee bit earlier, they'll get together. Ideally at the local host club. We're looking at trying boost the economy of the local host club as much as we possibly can. And that's where the Bears want to go. We want to go and see where somebody next year is Windsor, Ontario. We want to go and see where Windsor watch the games. And we want to put some money behind the bar and give the local establishment and the club a wee bit of a boost in terms of what we're doing. Thursday night welcome night, as I said. Friday morning, we have the Davy Cooper Memorial Golf Tournament, and there's also another folks that don't golf. And, so it depends where it is. In California, there was we did in Orange County, we did the Hollywood sign thing, and in fact, that was a Thursday, I think. I don't know what event they had, but in San Francisco, there was a wine tour and things like that. In Calgary here, we had a kind of Western experience where you go and do some line dancing and some bull riding and things like that to get a wee bit of more local feel to it. Mm-hmm. And then the Saturday morning, the whole reason for the AGM essentially is our AGM. And Saturday morning is typically our AGM, followed by a Q&A with whatever VIPs we manage to get there from the club and the ex-player community. And then the Sunday is the leaving do that we call it, and again, a chance, hopefully, not always, but hopefully to go to the local club and have some beers and take your suitcase, and hopefully remember to take your suitcase with you when you're heading to the airport, and have a few bevies just before you leave. So all encompassing, definitely a real feel of a season ender party. It is, but there is some business, there is some, charitable stuff that we're doing in there, and obviously our AGM and all the business side of it that we try to organise as well.
It's always good to, and we always go under the radar, the Rangers family, for the charitable work we do. Just use an example of that, Gary.
Yeah, so every year for the last, probably, I'm going to say 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years or so, we had a bit of a kind of random approach before that in terms of the charitable contribution. It was, in my experience of the conventions anyway, I don't know what happened before I started to go, but, there was some hats being put around if there was any local charities, or there was anything, maybe some disasters that had happened in North America, cyclones or hurricanes or any natural disasters, things like that. Again, that's my experience. There might be some other stuff that happened before it. But for the last 4, 5, 6 years, we've got a good partnership, a solid foundation with the Rangers Charity Foundation. So essentially what we do is we deal with one of their reps, a lassie called Karen Watson, and she helps us plan the events. She'll look at the local area where the event is taking place and organise an event that you subscribe to. You try and get some sponsorship for, and you raise as much cash as you can, and it turns into basically a real community day out. You get a chance, as I mentioned, we did the Hollywood sign in 2014. We did the walk around the CN Tower in Toronto, which was terrifying. There's been mountain climbing. There's been this year we did some bobsleigh.
Wait a minute,
stuff.
The mountain climbing wasn't terrifying, but walking through a building was.
Walking around a building was, because I was a wee bit hungover that day, and as I realised when I was up there, being that high up isn't exactly for me. I'm just a wee guy. So right. I did, and the mountain climbing, I didn't actually do the mountain climbing. So that was scary.
Yeah, I'd rather go up the building than do the mountain climbing, mate.
Yeah, getting up the building's all right, but standing outside it and hanging off the edge wasn't for me.
I get that, mate. I get that.
So we've had that staple part of that now. So that's really become part of the culture and the fabric of the conventions as well, and they're very well supported. So we're in the process right now of trying to figure out what best to do in Windsor next year. And this year, what we also did, we managed to support another few charities as well in Calgary, in terms of just basically trying to get a reach out there, definitely back home for the Charity Foundation, but also just in the local community, so that people can take notice and say, like, who are you guys again? What are the Rangers? And all that kind of thing. So on a Friday night, we had a raffle, and the raffle on the Friday night is the host club's raffle, and the Thursday and the Saturday is Narcissus. And on the Friday night, we had Willie Henderson had been very kind to donate a signed jersey from one of the recent Legends games that we hosted at Ibrox. So he brought that over, and there must have been 20 plus, maybe even 30 plus signatures on it of Legends all over the place. So he brought that over on the Thursday. They were actually delayed, supposed to arrive on the Wednesday. We had an emergency framer on hand to get this thing framed, and we were auctioning this off. It wasn't actually part of the raffle. And as we were auctioning it off, we decided as a club, that's typically the host club's opportunity to raise a wee bit of funds to keep themselves going. And then we discussed and agreed as a club that we would give 50% of any of the proceeds to Willie Henderson's daughter, the Michelle Henderson Cervical Cancer Trust. So we ended up...
Brilliant.
It was an amazing... So, and once we said that that's what we're going to do, the Bears are there. They're on holiday. They're just delighted to be there. They've got a wee bit of money in their pocket, and when it comes to a Rangers legend, they're more than happy to help out. So we ended up raising, it was something like, I think it was 5,500 Canadian dollars, and the place was going wild. And the Bristol Bar actually were the guys that had won it. So if anybody's listening and is in and around the Bristol Bar area, go in and see the jersey, and you'll see it's there. And it was just it was a magic experience. So we managed to support that and get some good press on the Rangers website for that. Our band that we had on the Saturday night, we had a wee bit of a different situation here. We have a local band made up of volunteers and a lot of expats. It was the same band we had in 2008 that we employed again to do in 2018. And they're basically a charity band. and they cover their costs, and then what they do with the remainder of the monies that's collected for the band is they donate it to a charity of their choice at that particular time, and I don't think they're tied to any one particular one. So in the theme of Rangers and football and sport in general, this year they had donated it to a local charity called Kids Sport, and we had donated, I think it was something like, again, don't quote me on this, but about $3,200, $3,400, $3,600 to Kids Sport, which basically helps underprivileged kids get access to sporting equipment and sporting facilities and sporting clubs to help them get out in the community and to be part of something and things like that. And with it roughly being about $200 to $300 per kid, you know, when you think about that, we were able, you know, just purely on the back of NARSA and the NARSA convention and the ad hoc band who did that for us, you know, we're able to sponsor, you know, probably about 12 kids for this year as well.
Absolutely.
It's magic, and it feels great. You know, it feels great to give. And we also you know, we take an advert in the Rangers Supporters Erskine Appeal magazine for the lawn bowling tournament that they have. We did it.
Rangers have got a team in that, mate.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Yes, we've got a team in that. We're hoping to do better than we done last year.
Well, how did you do last year?
I won't comment on that. We're team we're building up. They got the dates wrong, so they didn't peak.
Oh, the preparation time.
Aye, but we will peak this year. We'll do better than we done last year. Put it this way, we couldn't do any worse.
I love it. Yeah, so we're trying to basically spread the good word out there, do as much as we possibly can for the communities that Rangers cares about and the community that Rangers fans care about as well, and just make it a bit more of a meaningful experience for everybody involved.
What do the locals think when all these Rangers supporters turn up at a local pub in downtown somewhere in North America and have basically came for a piss up, really?
Yeah, they don't get it. Mostly everybody embraces it completely, and they love it. And we did a good job of going around the main places that people would likely to go, pubs I'm talking about, and get a chance to say, listen, there's, you know, between 300 and 400 bears coming here. These are guys that have, you know, 5 or 6 pints when they're deciding where they're going to go for a drink. Please don't run out of beer. You know, embrace them when they're here. They're a great bunch, and you know, there won't be any hassle. But they don't get it here because their sporting rivalries here, you know, last literally just for the game time and maybe a wee bit of banter before and after, and that's it. It's not cultural like ours is in terms of you live it. You live it all day, every day. You're checking websites, you're checking newspapers, you're talking to friends, family, colleagues and things like that. Everything's all about the Rangers. You know, it's part of the, you know, you would dread going into work on a Monday after a bad result, you know, whereas here, you know, at the end of the game, they'll go, oh, well, hard lines, too bad, and they'll just go on with the rest of the night. That's in all sports that I've been to, you know, baseball, American football, Canadian football and things like that. So they don't quite get it. You know, they're kind of like, so what do you get from that? Well, I get to hang around with friends and family that love the same things that I love. Okay, so what does the club get from that? Well, the club gets some positive exposure and a chance to meet and mingle with people they normally typically wouldn't get a chance. So what do you get from that again? I'm saying you don't get it. Just come and enjoy the party, enjoy the banter, and see how it goes. And everybody had a great time. You know, the patrons and the guests as well.
It must be quite interesting for somebody who's a local of North America and maybe not the same cultural background as yourself maybe comes along, and how quickly everybody's all friends and the common, how we mix and we've all got this common aim and we all can understand each other. And when we get together, Gary, we talk a bit faster, especially if we have a few refreshments.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we had the convention this year and it finished on the... What was it? The 31st, 2nd. So the 3rd of June was the Sunday event that we had at our local club here, the Palomino, and it was a brilliant day. I can't remember what time we shut it down. Probably about 11 o'clock or midnight or whatever. Took the Monday off, still hanging out with family and friends that made the effort to come here for it. I go back into work on the Tuesday just for a short week that week, and everybody, my colleagues, even the ones that are from the UK, they're saying, Gary, you're gonna have to slow down, man. I don't understand a word that you're saying because I'm still in Paisley mode at that point.
Does that mean you never bought a drink?
That's not true. I don't know what guys you from Paisley.
No. Well, what a good people come for Paisley, trust me, mate. But when you've had the conventions and that's the thing that makes the sort of headlines here. But you're doing a lot of good work, and it takes a lot of organising. I take my hat off to you because I know how to organise one social event, never mind a long weekend of them, is very, very difficult. But you're getting all the players over, ex-players, some current at times. I've been in the past, I believe. But
yeah,
do you enjoy that?
Oh, it's brilliant. You know, it's kind of ironic that, you know, I was a season ticket holder for a number of years back home, went to the games for you know, in excess of well, probably about 20 years probably in total. And then I moved 4,000 miles away, and then I suddenly get access to players and members of staff at Rangers that I would never have had before. I know that's a source of some angst with some folks back home, and I completely get it, I understand. But I mean, that seemed to be something that's certainly in a lot of the ex-player community that we have gone from a scenario of asking and sometimes, you know, begging almost, saying, look, please, we need to get somebody here. We need to get somebody that's going to get the fans excited. And times gone by, it was definitely a real help in terms of ticket sales and things like that. And now we have a different scenario where we have a whole bunch of people who have either attended or chatted to folks that have attended from the Rangers community that are asking to come. So then we're in a situation where we're trying to very tactfully pick and choose the best theme for that particular year that will be of the choosing of the host club and NARSA, and, you know, be relevant for the guests that are going to fly from all over to go there. But it's amazing. I mean, I played golf on the Friday back in early June there with Mark Haitley. And well, I played with my dad, and Mark Haitley played with Scott, my niece's man. And it was just, you're shaking your head. You know, I'm standing there trying to hit a ball, and Mark Haitley's giving me some golfing advice, and I'm like, man, you have to stick to Fitbit. You don't know what you're talking about here. Just let me play my own game. But just rubbing shoulders with these guys saying your name, it's fascinating. It's brilliant. It's very, very exciting.
And I know I asked you to name favourites, but who have you enjoyed, mate? That would be fairer, because they're only human the same as us. There's some tremendous characters involved as ex-players. Some of them, the speaking comes natural. Some of them are great guys.
Yeah.
You know, who have you enjoyed?
Yeah, to your point, Hawks, I've definitely enjoyed everybody. You know, Willie Henderson is a great friend of the Calgary club. You know, a few of us had met him at the Vegas convention. Sorry, we'd met him originally in Vancouver, and then latterly at the Vegas, and he's just such a legend, such a personable guy. Gordon Smith is another favourite of ours as well. You know, a guy that takes his job seriously when he comes over, in terms of making sure everybody has what they need and access to themselves and things like that. You know, the staple guys that we've had in terms of some of the Barcelona legends of Colin Steen and Willie Johnston.
What a pair!
Tremendous company. And well, every time I see Colin, I spilt a glass of red wine. At the very end, last call had already happened.
And you're still living.
Do you know what? I think he was just so shocked, and the two of us were just so shocked. And I'm kind of wee and relatively fast, so I was out of there as quickly as I could get. And every time I see him since, he's like, you, and I think it was all the more painful because the last orders had already been, and I couldn't even buy him a drink back that night. But these guys have been tremendous. We had over in Orange County, we had Ian Ferguson, the 9 in a row Ian Ferguson. This year we had the 1980s Ian Ferguson. Both great characters, great guys that couldn't do enough for the folks that are there. Andy Gorham was there in Redondo Beach as well, and he's just he's a machine. You know, one of these guys that you're thinking, I don't think we're going to see him tonight, and then he shows up with his club suit on a Saturday night and is the perfect gentleman, and you know, and then back in San Francisco in 2013, we had Ali McCoist as well. So I was fortunate enough to get to sit next to McCoist and the grand banquet at the dinner, and just, you know, a personality through and through. And at the time he was our manager, and things were, you know, we were still trying to figure out how things were going to go, but just some great times, you know, just to name but a few. Do
you think they appreciate, because obviously the support of the fans, and it's easy when you live in Paisley. I come to the West End of Glasgow. For us to get to the games and or maybe to get along is it's pretty easy, mate.
Yeah.
But the passion that these people, so we'll say in Calgary, in San Francisco, in Florida, for their club, do you think it registers with the players and ex-players?
I think it does, and I think it does primarily when they're on the ground here. When we're dialoguing with them beforehand, giving them an idea of what the itinerary is, what the expectations of them would be, when they would be on point, when they'll have downtime, and things like that. We try and explain it as best we can. Some of them get it instantly. Some of them are like, yeah, that sounds cool, that's great, and then they actually get there. And kind of back to your example of some of the locals looking in somewhat bewilderment or disbelief at this community that's been created. You still see that sometimes with the ex-players and even the VIPs that come over from the actual club as well, in terms of looking and going, man, oh man, this is incredible that we still inspire and encourage this sort of camaraderie and community and partyship. Even especially in the last 6 years or so, that almost galvanised everybody 10 times more than it would have before, in terms of, we shall not be moved, we will not walk away, that sort of thing. And these guys, you just see them, basically gasping and taking a step back and thinking, wow, they forget.
Just, well, you mentioned that's still something we like to talk about because it hurts, mate. But in 2012, mate, do you think it brought Narsar? Do you think it brought the support? Do you think it brought the Rangers family closer together, mate?
Definitely. Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, I think for a short period of time, we kind of went into stunned silence because nobody really had, certainly from my perspective anyway, nobody really understood what was happening to us and what it actually meant and what the potential connotations were going to be, a la the SFA and all the stumbling that they did in terms of the way that they helped plot our downfall or contributed to that. But what happened from an ARSA perspective was that we would go from a situation where we would get together March or April as a committee, an executive, and say, how's the ticket sales going? Where is it at? How are things doing? We need to try and get some promotion, figure out who the players are and get organised, to selling out in a matter of weeks. And, we had in Vegas last year, which was our peak, I think we had something like 1,325 people or something like that, 1,325 bears making their way. Vegas is an easy place to sell, but the years previous to that as well were just selling out as I say, in a space of weeks. And so you go from one headache of trying to actually sell tickets to make sure you're not going to lose money to actually trying to manage people's expectations to say, please buy early, don't wait, the tide has turned. Now we've kind of plateaued a wee bit on that since we've had a bit more stability since the new board has come back in. And, as I say, 1,325-ish last year. This year we were around about the 400 mark, just a wee bit shy of 400. It depends where we go, but I definitely felt it from an ARSA perspective. It was a genuine, absolute galvanising, and people saying, "No way, you don't do this to us. We will go tenfold to try and make sure everybody knows that we're still here."
And the ARSA people were particularly strong in the Rangers fans fighting fund, mate.
Yeah, we managed to contribute a fair chunk of money to that as well, and gladly did so. From a Calgary perspective, we had a fundraising day and we sold a whole bunch of our ex-memorabilia and things like that, and I think we raised something like $9,000 or so. I think the number, again, don't quote me on this, but it was something like $80,000 that NARSA had contributed to the fan fighting fund. So it was just an incredible amount of money, and just people gladly giving it. Even friends and family here saying, I don't really know what this is for, but it looks like it's something that's pretty important to you guys. So we jam-packed the pub out that day. We had things hanging up. We had auctions. We had, a whole bunch of fundraisers and raffles and things like that. And it was actually a very exciting time because, you're worried. It's a nervous energy that you're basically generating, but you're getting to a spot where you're just feeling like you're actually helping. Did I lose you?
Gary, I think Oxy's just dropped out for a minute, pal.
Looks like it.
He's just back in again, just back in, okay.
Technicals. So it was a particular snapshot in time, mate, and I genuinely believe that particular time is something that's made us stronger, Gary. Yeah,
I agree. I completely agree. Yeah.
So, well, moving forward, would you suggest, if possible, that Mace Bears put it on the bucket list to get to a Nasser convention, mate?
Definitely, absolutely, I would, and that's not just from we need to put bums in seats. It's not about that. It's just if you've never done it and just read some of the write-ups that have been on the Rangers website, or looked at some of the footage that's been on RTV in the past, or listened to friends and family that have been there or whatever, it's just an amazing experience just to go there. Everybody's decked out in Rangers gear. Any pub you go to, it doesn't matter. There's pockets of people there. For some reason, on holiday with a few drinks in you, it's a bit easier just to approach a table and say, how you doing? I'm Gary. Thanks very much for coming. Where is it you're from? And the amount of stories and effort people have made and things like that, it's just, it really, really warms the heart and makes you really, really proud and pleased that Rangers selected you to be a fan, definitely I would.
I've looked at it, and I'm not saying I will, but I'm looking at San Francisco, mate. Yeah. A year, in 18 months' time, yeah. Someone I'd like to see and kill two birds with one stone, yeah.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous city. We're just in the process right now of selecting the hotel. The hotel will determine what the vibe is in and around the area. But the last time we were in the financial district, which is a wee bit quieter on the weekends, but not in the hotel we were at, but it was right on the wharf. And the wharf is where a whole bunch of bars and pubs and restaurants, and where the boat takes you over to Alcatraz. And it's such a cool city. San Francisco, Grant and Davey and Chris and all the boys over there are doing a great job of getting organised already. They've already hosted 2 conventions in the past, so they're calling themselves the 7-year loyal, because that's every 7 years they seem to get it. So they're a great bunch of guys, wonderful city. It's going to be a blast. It would be great if you could make it.
Well, as I say, I think having spoke to a few people, been Florida, Vegas, and everybody I've ever spoke to, had a great time, mate.
That's
and
good.
It's a fabulous thing that we do. So, just to go back to NASA and the team and this positivity, you've picked up the vibe as well in North America, mate, in the last, 2 months?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think we were everybody was a bit punch drunk after, 3 managers in the space of a season tells you all you need to know about season 2017-2018. And then when the stunnedness of Stevie Gerrard being a manager goes away, and then the signings and the backing from the board and the fact that we've got a guy that completely understands football and how to manage a team and how to deal with people, and then coupled with the results that we've had, the unfair one against Aberdeen being the only kind of blot in the copybook, that it's amazing. We're, even just from a local club in Calgary perspective, there's just a buzz about the place. I'm really looking forward to seeing. We've got the same affliction in North America here. The Old Firm games are packed, and away to Kilmarnock in a January morning at 5:30 is, there's 8 of us standing there freezing and a bit grumpy. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing on the September weekend here in a couple of weeks what the crowd looks like in terms of, the Old Firm game. It's the first Old Firm game in a long, long time that you're approaching it saying, I'm confident. I can't wait. If the team does what they're doing right now, then we've got nothing to fear. And I hope that what that ends up being is a bit of a godsend for the clubs spread across North America, that more guys will start to come back out again and, start to get a wee bit more build up of the community, build on that momentum and just keep it going again, because, there's no 2 ways about it. We did lose a bunch of people over the last 6 years or so.
Are they coming back? Do you feel them coming back? Or is it positivity, or is it a habit you've got to go in your community? Once the habit's broke.
That's exactly, and it's really funny you say that, Ox, because I was saying that very thing to my dad. My dad's still back in Paisley, and I speak to him almost every day when I'm driving to work. And I had said, just with the kick-off times here, with the availability of Rangers TV or some of the bigger games being on some of the local terrestrial TV channels here in the States and Canada as well. It's an easy habit to get into, watching them in your pajamas and sitting there with a cup of coffee in your hand and knowing as soon as the game's done you can switch it off and go back to bed, go about your daily business or whatever. You know, it's a very, very easy habit to break and a very hard habit to get back into again. We've lost some great guys in our club because of the convenience of modern technology and the fact that, you know, the community part for them is definitely a factor, but so is being in the pyjamas with a nice hot coffee and not having to leave the confines, especially in the dead of winter in some of the areas like Calgary and you know, eastern states and Canada that get hit hard at winter time, you know. So it's the habit. We're trying to just get folks to just really enjoy the habit. The Thursday games that we're having here right now are working out well for us personally here in Calgary, that we get a chance to actually, the pub being open, a chance to talk to each other in you know, normal times. We're not all bleary-eyed and tired or hungover or whatever it is. But you know, definitely people are coming back for sure. But there's some other folks that have just got out the habit. Doesn't make them any less of a Rangers fan at all. But it's
life's life, mate. Life's life, mate.
Yeah.
You know. So when what's the best time for a game for you to start for your social side? Is it the traditional 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, or is it?
So 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon is good for the clubs out east in Toronto and you know, Chicago and things like that. They're only 5 hours behind, so that's 10 o'clock in the morning. People are coming too. The pub will be open shortly, if not already. That kind of thing. Over in the west, where we are, you know, we're 7 hours behind, and on the absolute west coast, they're 8 hours behind. So the 8 o'clock games are good. Yes, that's 3 o'clock on a Saturday or a Sunday. They're good for us, but again, the pub still isn't open at that point. So the folks are going to the local coffee shops and grabbing their coffees and their donuts or whatever it is, and still standing and watching them. When we get back to the real glory days of cup finals and things in Calgary here, we can organise an early bar licence if it's a special event, and have the bar open at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and get a few pints and make a bit of a day of it, regardless of the result. But I think a lot of clubs are somewhat afflicted by licensing laws and stuff. It just depends where you're watching it. If you have your own space, or you have, you know, you're in a commercial establishment.
I don't think people appreciate sometimes when you were in Paisley, when I came from where I came from, till you move away, what people will do. Sometimes it used to be sitting on the radio to hear the Rangers game or to watch the Rangers game. It's unbelievable, isn't it? The things that people do.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. And some of these clubs that have 3, 4, 5 members, they're within NARSA, maybe half a dozen or 8 or 9 or whatever. Some of these guys are driving 30 miles to and from the game at, you know, whatever time in the morning, just to go and be with their pals and watch the game and feel part of something and things like that. You know, it's incredible. During the election that we had there, just for the various positions that were up for election, and, you know, specifically in 2018 from January onwards, myself and a few others were on the campaign trail, and just, you know, getting on the phone to presidents or secretaries of some of the local clubs, trying to say, listen, this is why I'm going for election again, and you know, I'd appreciate a bit of your time to explain it. Just chatting about how they do things and some of the ideas they've had, some of the challenges that they face. Just the effort, you don't get that anywhere else unless people really, really love something. And you can tell that people really, really love something. And those were the best times, just chatting to folks that I would normally maybe email with or whatever, but actually getting on the phone and just having an actual conversation. It's incredible.
Approximately how many clubs is there, Gary?
So we've got 33, 34 clubs that we have what's called full membership. Full membership for us would be you are a member of NARSA and you are taking the TV package in its entirety from Rangers TV. Mm-hmm. We did try to put a scheme in place last year, and it was voted through under the Constitution last year, called associate membership. And associate membership is basically, you won't have an official vote come the AGM time. However, by every other way and means and shape and form, that you would be a member of NARSA. And it was basically to build the community, you know, to go to places and say, listen, you don't have to be, if you can't muster up enough people that would make it viable from a commercial perspective to actually pay for Rangers TV, that we still want you to be part of our forum. We still want you to be part of our discussion. We still want your help and support from an Arsenal and Rangers perspective in your community and for the conventions and anything else that we have ongoing at that point. But we don't want to exclude anybody because they don't take the TV. To be honest with you, Ox, we haven't quite got gone really as well as I was hoping on the associate membership. So that's something that I'm really concentrating some efforts on once we get some of the tidy up activities done that we've needed to do from the previous regime.
If you need a voice, mate, we're here every night, mate. If you want anything shouted out or put it out, we're always here, mate, and we will put out anything to do with your club to let people know and get the message out. And we have, I'm not going to say tens of thousands of people listening every night, but there is tens of thousands of people listening to us all over the world, mate.
Yeah, no, that'd be appreciated. We'll definitely, once we get our ducks in a row with that, we'll definitely hit you guys up and get a wee bit of help from that. That would be terrific.
And because we're all part of it, we've all got the same aim. Gary, you've been away and you've seen the sort of, if you like, the internet changes since you've been in Canada. I know the internet was out, but it's changed for the Bears over there because, as you said, they used to wait for all papers getting sent out, videos of games.
Yeah.
Everything's instant now. Is it changed for the better for you, or are sometimes you wouldn't mind getting back where there was a bit of romance behind some of the stuff we do?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of both. From a convenience perspective, we, the different channels that we have to be able to see the games and get access to information and interviews and stuff like that is brilliant today. You're never wanting for anything from a Rangers perspective now. But I think you used a great word there, Ox, in terms of the romance. Went back in the day when you just couldn't get it anywhere else, and you knew that the only way to do it was to go to an Arsa club and force yourself to be part of the community, even if you're not really into that sort of thing. Those were great days as well. We weren't overly keen on the providers that we had. They weren't really really kicking with the sort of foot that we would like them to be kicking with, but we made do. We had some great times, and those were great days. But it's a bit of both. It depends what way you look at it. I really enjoyed those days. I really enjoy these days. My mantra has always been, obviously, we want to support Rangers as much as we possibly can, and actually support Rangers, not just be a fan and things like that. So I'm always trying to say, we have to, pay Rangers TV, pay the $5.99 or $10, to support Rangers TV, and that will help us get a better product eventually as we move forward. We've got a really good product already, but there's all these Facebook, live streaming and other streams out there. It's very, very difficult to try and curtail that now.
The genie's out the bottle. How's your relationship with the club, Gary?
It's really good. It's really, really good. I think over the piece for in the whole of NARSA's existence, the relationship has always been very, very strong. I think from the early days that Rangers, had kind of looked with one eyebrow raised to see what these guys were going to be doing in North America, and then when they seen it was a bona fide organised organisation full of people trying to do the right thing, they have been supportive of it since. Even honestly, in the darker days of the last 6 years, when we had Graham Wallace and Craig Mather, these guys, with the best of intentions, had come over and had talked to us about their vision and things like that. It was just so volatile that we ended up having a different CEO every year. That's what it felt like anyway. So when Dave and Paul and Stuart and these guys all came in, I had said, look, just come back. See if you come back again next year and it's the same person that comes back and just tells us what you did. That's a step change in the right direction in terms of what we're trying to do, and they've done that. They've been very tremendously supportive of who we are and what we're doing, and by sending people over. But I'm still at the spot right now, myself and a few others on the exec, of trying to say, you're not using us enough yet. And I don't know, we want to have these conversations, and we do at the convention, sit down and say, what do you need from NARSA? And this is what NARSA needs from you. But we're still not quite just there about holding each other's feet to the fire and saying, you need to do that, because if you guys do that, then we can do this, and try and help raise the profile, or maybe look at sponsorship or some other way of expanding the brand. But it's very, very good. The relationship is terrific right now.
And obviously things are slowly getting in place, mate, and hopefully we can get this strip thing sorted out in the next 3 weeks, and you boys in North America can get your strips, mate, and walk about and show people how proud we are of our club here.
Exactly. There's nothing better than going anywhere in North America. You know, maybe you end up in a mall somewhere, you're walking about looking for a coffee or a drink or whatever, and you see someone walk around the corner with a Rangers shirt. Doesn't matter from what era. It's just, it makes you feel great. And, you know, again, zero qualms about walking up and saying, hey man, I really like your shirt. Where did you get it? My name's Gary. I'm from Calgary. Stuff like that. I want to get back to that. We haven't enjoyed a whole bunch of exposure in North America from a shirt sales perspective that I would like. You go into some of these sports shops here and there's an abundance of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United and things like that, but there's not a whole hell of a lot of Rangers shirts there. And speaking with the guys at Hummel, as we were organising the football match that we have, that was a thing I never mentioned, we have an Absent Friends football match, as well as on the Saturdays as part of the convention. So I was fortunate enough to get in tow with the guys from Hummel. They were just new in and seized an opportunity, and they provided their kits for the Absent Friends football match this year. And these guys are desperate to, certainly the guy I was speaking from North America with, they're desperate to get more of a presence and a footprint in the shops here and get some good gear out there at a reasonable price to be able to have kids wear kits, basically.
It's been a great fit so far, Hummel. Just have to get it sorted so we can get the kits on people's back. Gary, we were meant to go to 10 o'clock. We went past the time, mate.
That's all for rambling on. Sorry about that.
No, not at all, mate. You're welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure. Just one more thing.
Yeah.
When you go home and you have a roll of sausage, red or brown sauce?
Brown.
Oh, all right, mate. You're doing all right up to then. I hope you've enjoyed it, mate. You're welcome to stay on and talk to the Bears, mate, when we talk about what's happening with the club. This platform's here every night between 9 and 11 Greenwich Mean Time for yourself. If you want any shout out for to help Nasser or anything that's coming up, by all means, just get in contact with the big man through Facebook, and we'll shout it out, because anything that's positive for our club, we're interested, mate.
Wonderful. I really, really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk, and you guys have been tremendous. Thanks a million for inviting me. We've had one question for Facebook. We've had a boy from Winnipeg. Oh yeah.
Has asked where's the nearest Nasser club in his area. It's Enoa in Winnipeg. Whoa. The power of the internet. The power of the internet.
Oh, yes. So we do actually have a club in Winnipeg, but last season actually, they couldn't show the games because of a change in ownership of the place that they were showing it in. And I guess the membership there come from a pretty diverse geographic area, so trying to get another location for them has been a wee bit challenging in terms of somewhere that would be palatable for people to go and actually watch the games. I know that Tom Chisholm and Alex Black and the boys out there are doing their best to try and resurrect the club, because they do have a presence definitely in the Nasser community, and Alex Black, the boy from the Winnipeg Rangers Supporters Club, is actually on the Nasser exec as the Northwest director as well. So nothing just yet, but something in the works. So please keep in touch, and we'll see what transpires as the season progresses.
So if Enoa, who's on Facebook, I know you're on Facebook, contacts you through that, you'll be able to give them the details of the people in Winnipeg, yeah?
Absolutely, yes.
And I'll tell you what, if you have any problems and you need it sorted, just let us know. We'll send Bridge over and he'll sort it, and we'll get you the premises to watch the game in.
I don't think we'll ever have any problems that we would ever need Bridge to come and help us, to be honest. But
he's a very diplomatic individual. He'll sort it out for us. He'll sort it out. Have you enjoyed it, mate?
Loved it. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much again.
And you're welcome to come on any time you like, mate. And you're welcome to stay on the night when we just talk about the Rangers.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll just go on mute here and listen in for sure.
Yeah, and come into the conversation. We're going to have a tune. And I hope he's got one that's quite apt to what we've discussed tonight. Thank you very much, and thank you for all the Bears in Nasser who commitment to a great club. Cheers, thanks, Gary.
Take care, thanks.
How many years ago, my boys, I left the Glasgow town. I followed the pull of the Yankee land and here I've settled down. Although I'm in Bridgeton Cross and my friends so near and dear, what I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. You can talk of California where the sun shines all the year. You can bomb about your Broadway light so clear. But if it would fill my heart with sadness, it would fill my heart with cheer. If we only had the Rangers over here. For they're the finest team in all the land, and I'm sure that you'll agree. To see them win is something grand, it's part of history. We're the boys who fear no noise, my lads, and I mean this quite sincere. What I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. You can buck of California where the sun shines all the year. You can bum about your Broadway life so clear. But if it would fill my heart with gladness, it would fill my heart with cheer. If we only had the Rangers over here. Finest team in all the land, and I'm sure that you'll agree. To see them win is something grand, it's part of history. We're the boys who fear no noise, my lads, and I mean this quite sincere. What I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. You can talk of California where the sun shines all the year. You can bomb about your Broadway life so clear. But it would fill my heart with sadness, it would fill my heart with cheer. If we only had the Rangers over here. If we only had the Rangers over here. If we only had the Rangers over here.
Well done, the Foxy boy. Bridgeman, you with us, brah?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you must appreciate some of that because you've been in the travels and distance parts of the globe. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yes. It's well done to yourself. And
no, not at all, mate. It was a pleasure to speak to you, Gary. Are you with us, Big Ulster, mate? Oh,
I think it was well enjoyed. He'll just be probably making some tea or something like that. But it was well enjoyed and well done to Gary. It's brilliant to hear him.
I think Gary's still with us. You still with us, Gary?
I am indeed, yes.
Aye.
Well done, pal. Well done.
Thanks very much.
We're going to start talking about the football now and the team, so you're welcome to join us there. Bridgeman, now you've really calmed down and reflected, mate. Good victory on Sunday, and we move on, and it looks as if the injuries, the knocks that we've had, we're going to, apart from Jamie Murphy, everybody's going to be fit for Thursday night, which is a big game, brah.
Yeah, I think, certainly most Rangers fans are looking to it. The big one that we'd like to see fit is Koulibaly. So I think that would be a real boon for the team if he was back fit again. But I think the manager said after the game, well, we'll just need to see what happens and we'll get on with it. We're a bit depleted, but we'll get on with it. Simple as that. So really, what we would do with we're in Europe. So we're well on in the European tournament now. We really need our best, as much as possible, our best team playing and get a result. Because it's another massive game for us. I've never heard of this team, Ufa. I've never heard of them.
No,
and I don't know if
honestly,
any of the lads in the lobby have heard of them, but my goodness.
I'm the same as you, mate. Over the years, we've played a few famous games against Russian opposition, but I've never heard of this mob.
Mm-hmm.
Are you back, Big Ulster?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, mate. How you doing, mate? Gary, what was your thoughts on Sunday's game? Did you catch it, mate? Being a stupid o'clock for you. And what did you think, mate?
Yeah, we did. We actually did two showings here. We did a live showing at 5:30 in the morning and another one at 9, just for the folks that didn't want to get to bed too early. And so I went to the 9 o'clock show.
I would phone them up and tell them the score, mate. That's what I would do.
The reason that folks come live is they just can't stay away from their smartphones or the internet. So they're like Wayne's in a sweetie shop. So I managed to do that. I was all right. I thought the game was good. Another solid performance. We didn't really look like we were in any trouble at all. The injury is to Murphy was the bigger downer. I thought 3 great goals from Morelos, and what a difference to see him lean and fit and happy and smiling. And I have to admit, last year I didn't think he was a striker. I didn't think he had that natural instinct, and I take that back now because his goals have been tremendous.
Aye, great, mate. Listen, Bridge, if people want to join us, what's the number?
Well, the number's 014 1356 1972.
Where else can they join us, Ulster?
You can join us at rangersradio.online, and if you look for the wee Skype icon and click that, Foxy will bring you into the call.
Yep, and what can they talk about, Ulster?
Everything Rangers.
Well, we've been joined with our first caller. How are we doing, Rudy Bear?
Evening, gentlemen.
Rudy.
Hi, Rudy.
How you doing, bud?
Hi, Ulster. Hi, Gary. That was great, by the way. Thoroughly enjoyed that first hour. That's smashing. Really enjoyable.
Talked a lot of sense, didn't he?
I wasn't talking about Oxford, though, Bridge. I was talking
Oh,
about...
sorry.
Talking about Gary.
That was you getting your rain back in Ulster.
I was going to say, me and you could take a wee trip to San Francisco.
Oh, we can still do that. As long as you're going to play Ox, I'll be quite happy to tag along. I'll tag along with you, mate. Don't worry.
Wouldn't be a problem, bro.
By the way, you've got something about San Francisco in your mind. The other night you started singing San Francisco.
That's because I was reading all that stuff about the convention.
All right.
Gary, Steven Gerrard, he's rotating the squad. He's moving the players around. Well, he's resting them. Like Candice come on early, obviously because of the Murphy. He's no scared. He's putting a lot of faith in them. That's your job. Go out and do it, and you'll get back in the team. When I say you'll get back in the team, it's just been a revelation for me.
Oh, it really has. It just from almost the first interview, not so much the press conference that day. That was exciting and things, but when he actually just started to talk about football, you could just tell the guy just knows what he's talking about. And the big difference from his perspective to the previous managers we've had, since Walter left, I think, has been, when Stevie Gerrard tells you to do something, you're going to do it because he's Stevie Gerrard and there's a strong possibility he knows what he's talking about. And I was just saying to my dad there yesterday morning, or maybe it was this morning, that I don't know the stats on this, but I would bet that most players in the Rangers squad are sitting here right now, 8 or 9 games in, saying, I didn't think I would have played 6 games already. Like it's just the way that he's rotating, that by the time Christmas comes, these guys, it's not going to be a case of they're really fed up and disjointed or disgruntled, say, because they've been sitting on the bench for a long time. Everybody seems to be getting a lot of playing time.
He's not scared to make the calls, is he?
No, he certainly isn't. It's been very impressive for that aspect for me, Ox. I thought, there was much said about his inexperience, from a managerial point of view when he came in. I think he's just totally blown that right out the water, to be honest with you. Let's call him a rookie manager, because really that's what Steven Gerrard is. He's a rookie manager, first club. And it's a big, big, big job for him, to take on his first managerial position. And he's done wonderfully well, and as far as I'm concerned, and the rumour was kicking about at the beginning, before he came in, I was kind of thinking, big name, wow, but is it really the right move for us at this particular time after the last debacle? Like I said the other night, Ox, he hasn't...
You didn't have to Google Steven Gerrard, really, did we?
No, we said with Pedro, if you have to Google a Rangers manager's name, it's a Rangers manager. You certainly didn't have to do that with Steven Gerrard. And like I said the other night, Ox, the man hasn't put a foot wrong, in my opinion, so far. And he's, like you say, he doesn't mind making the call when it's required, whether that's substitutions, whether that's, changing players, resting a couple of players, 2-3 players, when you have a big match coming up like you did at the weekend there. We've got a big game on Thursday now. We're 180 minutes away from something that we've not seen at Ibrox for a long time,
And we didn't think we'd get close, let's be honest, mate.
I'll be honest, I never thought for a minute we'd get this far. I really honestly didn't. I thought if we could put up a good showing in a couple of rounds, probably be happy enough with that and then start concentrating on the league. But the closer it's getting, the more I want it now.
I'm the same, mate. There's part of me, I think I've said it before, I don't know if I wanted to go forward, but now we're there, I want to get in the group stages.
Yeah.
I'll be disappointed if we don't.
Wouldn't it be a real disappointment and downer if we don't win tomorrow night, for instance? I mean, really and truly, we're just desperate to win and take a good lead, a couple of goals lead over to Russia and come back with a winning. That's just pass through into the sort of group stages. That would be just fabulous in his first season as a manager. Group stages of the Europa League. Fabulous.
And by the way, Bridge, there's only dozens of tickets left to do the public.
Is that right?
Started. There's only dozens. They're dotted all around the stadium. So another sell at Ibrox, Gary.
Sorry, I thought I was on mute and I put myself on mute.
We call that doing a bridge.
I've got an excuse, Gary. I've got an excuse. I'm aged.
That was what we call user error. That was my bad. Sorry.
User error. I love it.
The sellouts they're just brilliant. It's amazing to see, and that's honestly makes me a wee bit envious. Being completely remote from it, to be able to see, because we're seeing it on the TV, Rangers TV here, and it's 90 minutes that we get to see maybe a wee bit at half time. But that's like a full day event for these guys. When I was back home, I was taking a half day. I was going and getting myself ready and going having a bit of lunch and a couple of pints and making my way to the bus. And I was I'm a wee bit envious, but long may it continue.
First season, Gary. It's his first season, and nobody. You've heard the boys saying, and loads of other boys would be quite happy to win and get a couple of ties for Rangers and get some crowds and some money in and things like that. But don't let it interfere with the league. But the nearer it gets and the closer it gets and the further we get, type of thing, And here we are, on the fringes of the group stages of the Europa League, in the man's first season, and all these people, pundits and so on and so forth, have been decrying him because Rangers should never have signed this guy, blah blah blah, because he's a rookie and blah blah. Oh, that nonsense, just utter nonsense. And he's proven
there is seats dotted through all the stadium, and I would say dozens, maybe a few hundred, but. They put the corner of the Broomloan and the Govan up. Obviously, the team aren't bringing any fans. At one stage, it didn't look as if they were bringing a team. But they put that on sale this morning, and there's one seat left in that section. One seat. I still see that. There's a seat circled in the court one where every seat in the boot it's not sold. I
wonder who he's talking about.
You're a shocker. Perry's a shocker.
I just noticed that every game that you see the seats that got for sale, it's like a circle around this one seat, Rudy.
Funny that, I wonder who that could be. I wonder who sits in the Courtland.
Anyway, we've been joined by Fox. Evening, Fox.
Evening, Fox.
Hi, Foxy.
Evening, lads.
How we doing, mate?
Aye, doing fine.
All right. Gary's with us, mate, and you get a chance now. He's enjoying the football and the positivity.
Aye, it's good we interview. Thoroughly enjoyed that. It's nice to know there might be an ocean between us, but it doesn't dilute your love for the Jazz.
Exactly. I'll put you down for this trip to San Francisco, mate. You fancy the golf or the whaling trip?
I don't think you'll get me out of the hippie quarter, mate.
As long as it's a happy quarter, we'll be all right. So we're moving on. We touched on it briefly, Rudy. I don't know if you've followed it today with the new director. Boy for Hong Kong's come in. I don't want to try and pronounce his name because I might do a disservice. But things seem to be moving, eh?
They seem to be moving at quite a pace now, don't they? We've got the share issue, we've got the general meeting coming up 31st, then, for that we'll have the share issue. Aye, moving on. The man seems to be, he's in there now, he's a director now, seems to have some serious money behind him. And I think it was Big Ulster who was saying at the beginning of the show, there's a possibility, you know, is this the guy who will maybe in a couple of years' time, 2-3 years' time, whatever the case might be, sort of step up to the plate and become, you know, the main shareholder in the club. I think he bought a huge chunk of shares off Mike Ashley last time round. He maybe the guy maybe go ahead and do something like that again. It remains to be seen, like, but it's all looking very positive on the park and off the park right now, Ox. Aye, it's looking great, to be honest.
Gary, did you pick that up today about the movement in the boardroom?
I did. It was a wee bit of a surprise. These things seem to be becoming as a surprise, you know, with the two directors leaving at the end of last season, you know, Paul Murray and the other fellow, and then this announcement today. Like, part of me is interested that we're managing to keep stuff like this under wraps until it's done and dusted, and then the announcements are made. I think that's another positive sign as well. But if this guy's willing to put his money in, and, you know, he seems to know what he's doing from a business perspective, then, you know, as long as he's not as disruptive as some other shareholders have been in the recent past, then there's nothing but good news for Rangers.
What about yourself, Fox? Moving and as Rudy says, starting to move at a pace, mate, off the pitch.
Right, it is for me. It's Julian Woolhart, is there something like his name is, isn't it?
Danish guy.
I think he bought 1 million shares off of Ashley. I'm not 100% sure on that. But to have people with substance back on the board is always a good thing for a club. Apparently a very wealthy man. And once one decent investor or somebody buys into the club like that, investing money, you attract others, mate. And I can see the Rangers board being probably joined by another 1 or 2 in the coming years.
Yourself, Bridge?
Well, you know how I feel about that. I think the guy is going to be, has been a great supporter of Rangers through this last 12 months or so, since he got his shares from the Ashley group, you know. And being now pronounced as going to be a man of some basically substance and control, you might be right. Maybe in a couple of years' time, he might be the man that is going to step in and become the big. It might be like that Dermot Desmond that's out across the road, you know. It might be like that. A lot of folk actually hope that he's going to be whomever it is, who's got all the shares, becomes a new chairman, and let Dave King obviously stay on the board and so on and so forth. And maybe Dave King wants to step away for a wee while, take care of family business. I'm not dead sure. I hope he doesn't. I hope the guy becomes a Dermot Desmond type character, and he's always going to have this thing in the background that if we ever need money, then there's a guarantee written into it, basically. That's what I would like to see. In fact, I would like to see that Jim McCall. Remember that guy that was the multi-millionaire, the multi-billionaire? I would love to have seen him, a Rangers fan, a lifelong Rangers fan apparently, stepping in and just saying, don't worry, end at all, we'll guarantee it. It's no harm. So we need somebody to do that, you know. This might be the guy.
I don't think it might be one guy, Gary. I think it could be several.
I think that seems to be the way that things are going in terms of you know, shareholding and ownership. And it sounds like a small amount of shares in terms of the percentage wise, but it's an incredible amount of money that these folks are putting in. And I think it just seems to be that this type and style of business that the guys are in, that we seem to be attracting, that's the way that they transact the business. You know, they're going to buy 3% here, 2.5% there, 4% here, and things like that. And just, you know, the more the merrier in terms of, you know, getting money in, getting positive money in to the club and just helping driving us forward.
The Steven Gerrard effect to the global brand, Gary, you'll be able to know more of that than most people. We're maybe a bit close to it, but I see it down south that people want to talk to me about Rangers. They know the results when I go into work. It's been a big effect on the club, so people maybe that we don't see, or maybe when they thought about it a year ago, might be attracted to the club now.
I would think so, and I would think, you know, from a full package perspective, that was a definite thing that the club we're thinking about in terms of what we would get. We have guys here. I mean, Steven Gerrard, Liverpool Football Club. This is a global brand, like we are. That they're probably a wee bit behind us in the pecking order in terms of popularity, I would like to think. But Steven Gerrard being there, and folks, imagine we had went for another manager. It doesn't matter what one, anyone in the world that we'd possibly have went for, and we would be a footnote on a the back page, the inside of the back page or something. Oh, by the way, Rangers got XYZ manager. But all of a sudden, we're front page for the good reasons and back page for the good reasons within a very short period of time. We don't look like we're stopping, because it looks like we've got guys in there that know what they're doing, and with a backing from an active, supportive board. So I would be shocked if they weren't leveraging Stevie's name and brand out there with folks that are in the investment community, abroad and maybe at home as well.
And that's how Rudy's got a single malt with a nice card in it, ready to be sent up to Derek McInnes for his Christmas, thanking him for all he's done for the club.
I love it. I'd like to thank Derek personally. I dread to think where we would have been had he not knocked us back, let's put it that way. Standing there, you see the man standing there, suited and booted, game day, match day, he's standing there at the side. He's a complete leader at the side of the park. He's brought leaders onto the park as well, and Connor Goldson, Katic, Arfield, guys like that, Alan McGregor. I dread to think where we would have been. McInnes, for me, was just a complete no-no at the time. And so glad we knocked him back, because we've got Stevie G, and what a name that is to have standing at the side, and your dugout, sitting in your dugout as well with Gary McAllister. As I said, they haven't put a foot wrong for me. The awareness that they've brought to the club as well, which I'm sure, I don't doubt for a minute, the board, Mark Allen and the board sat down and spoke about this. You've got a huge amount of interest from abroad, huge amount of interest from down south now on where Rangers are, what they're doing, and if we could only get to this Europa League group stage, another 180 minutes of football, we could be there. That in itself is a huge amount of success compared to last year, Ox. It's huge for us if we get to that group stage.
Ulster, I mean, I know you're no short of a bobber too, so you must be ready to make your move, big man.
No, I'm a man with 3 daughters. I have no penny. The only pennies I have left after that to travel to see the Rangers, Ox.
Are you picking up good vibes at the club this now off the park, mate? We know the football's going okay, but we seem to be nearly getting the end of this journey off the park.
Yes, man, everybody's excited. As I said earlier, it's not just 2-3 games in a row. It's been in Europe, it's been in the league, it's the pre-seasons with games we have to start. And I think, as people have said already, the global name of Steven Gerrard does help. I think in his interview, when he was being unveiled as the manager of the press conference, Dave King actually alluded to that it was, it was great for the global brand to have Steven Gerrard there. It puts us out and makes us attractive to people that maybe wouldn't have been attractive to before because their love for Steven Gerrard. So people who maybe, as you say yourself, wouldn't maybe have looked into results and how we were getting on are starting to do that now. And hopefully if we can gain a few supporters that way, beyond Steven Gerrard, when he eventually goes, hopefully that's not for a long time. Say that'll keep the brand going. But at the minute, everything's going really well for us, and fingers crossed if things stay on this path, mate.
I know that there's
Where's our oyster?
I know that there's masses of Rangers supporters in Northern Ireland, mate, but there's Liverpool are also very popular.
Oh yes, well when we were actually in Manchester, we done the boat. A lot of us from over here to Liverpool, and there was Rangers clubs that we went to actually there. Blew our minds a wee bit because we couldn't believe it, but it was local Liverpool men from here who go to the games. The Liverpool games told us to go to that certain club, and we went to it. That was fantastic, and it opened our eyes, mate, to how big the actual support is, even in places like Liverpool, where we didn't know we were just as big, but that club was bouncing. It had all the Rangers stuff everywhere, so I'm sure people from that region are delighted that Steven Gerrard's at the helm.
Yep. What about you, Fox? The jigsaw's slowly coming together. We just need a few more players, mate. Just for me, I see that Miles Bierman's away back to Malta on loan.
It's not a bad place to go your holidays, is it? Can I just go back to what you were saying about the director there being made up?
Yeah, carry on, mate.
I mean, I know the guy's worth a few quid, but I'd rather, at this present time, they used their expertise in business, mate, to get this club running on an even keel where we don't depend on directors' loans and we're paying for ourselves. Then if they want to pull out a couple of quid and lump it into us, I'll be pretty happy.
Aye, well, I get where you're coming from, mate. We must be slowly getting there, mate. If you're doing the business planning for this year, you've no factored in, or this season, you've no factored in 200,000 through the gates at Ibrox for Europe so far. Gary?
No, exactly. Exactly, and that was one of the first things that came to my mind when we heard about this, the potential challenge with the visas for UFA or UFA or UFA, whatever their pronunciation is, that thinking, Abai is okay in terms of, that gets us into the knockout stages, but momentum for the team and, absolute income, especially for the home game, was one of the first things that came to my mind. Just that we need to latch onto the support, keep people engaged and keep them coming back.
Bridge?
Yeah, I think that I look at what's happening in the club now, and I agree with what Foxy was saying there. We want to be this independent club and well run, professionally run, and I think this share issue is going to provide a platform for all of that to happen. And there'll be no more soft loans. I would imagine they'll demand that they be able to stand on their own feet. They're going to have, let's say, a £12 million share issue. And I don't know if that's going to be cash in hand for the manager or the board to distribute, or whether there's a part of that. But I think somewhere along the line, when we get our contract with whomever it is going to do the distribution of our shirts, once we get that all cleaned up, there's going to be a lot of money in our club. But just remember, we'll be one of the few clubs in Europe that's actually debt-free when we do this share issue. They'll have no debt. And here we are one of the top managers, well, name-wise anyway, he's a top manager. He's doing a great job for us, and we've got no debt at all. Stadium's looking great. The team's starting to look smashing, and we can only add to it. And I'm hopeful that we do add to it, not necessarily all at the one time, but we keep going from strength to strength, and this is what it's all about. The recognition that you spoke about for Steven Gerrard, you're absolutely right, but to me, that's worldwide. It's in a different place. It's not in Scotland. He's not getting the recognition in Scotland. Rangers aren't getting recognition in Scotland for whatever reason. We can call them. I've got a whole load of reasons slipping off the tip of my tongue easily. But it's not there. But it's getting the recognition outside places, and that may be what we need to do for a start.
Well, if we keep winning football matches, and obviously we do okay on Thursday, but then Motherwell becomes a massive game on Sunday, Rudy.
Aye, it's going to be another tough game, isn't it? Like the Kelly one at the weekend there, league game. Aye, away to Motherwell. It's never going to be easy against them. Stevie Robertson's got them playing the way he's got them playing there. They like to chuck it a bit when they get the opportunity. They're not a great football team by any stretch of the imagination, but they're tough. Certainly at their own place. We go there at the weekend after what I imagine will be a cracking night at Ibrox on Thursday. The place will be rocking just like it was the first leg against Maribor. Ibrox will be absolutely bouncing again, and hopefully we get a good result on Thursday and it sends the boys off to Motherwell at the weekend for another tough game. But they proved at the weekend for me, Stevie Gerrard says against Aberdeen they're a class above. They are a class above now. We're watching them play decent football, good football now, really good football at times. They're taking on teams like Maribor, who we could never have done last year. We would never have been able to compete with these teams last year. We're competing now. We're winning. We're getting through to the next round in Europe, and we're competing in the league. So for me, every game's a big game for Rangers Ox. Every game. Stevie Gerrard and the team, if they can just keep this going, keep the run going as long as they possibly can, the confidence will build. The optimism will build. The fans are right behind the team now. There's a great connection. with between the fans and the team now, because Steven Gerrard and Mark Allen's gave us a team to be proud of, Ox, you know.
Rudy, I just need to warn you, mate. You've just infringed Bridges' copyright, mate. He's copyrighted that. Keep it going. Keep it going,
Rudy,
mate.
Keep it going, pal. Just keep it going. That's the truth. That's
You
what
will
we need to do.
You will be getting a lawyer's letter tomorrow, mate.
But tell you now, don't bother, Bridge, because I've no money. I'm skint on the
Rudy, just for you, but I'll take it to the rest of the panel. I'll go to Gary next in the Bridge. What's the bigger game, Thursday or Sunday?
For me, I'm really. I would have said at the start of the
Come on, it's a yes or no. Sunday or Thursday, come on.
Thursday.
It's not easy, is it?
No,
I was thinking about that today in a moment of downtime. Gary, what's the bigger game?
I'm really greedy. I would say both, but since I'm not allowed to do that, I would say for me, I would say Thursday, just simply because that's the first next game that we're playing, and we just want to keep it going. Apologies for using that term.
No.
You get tore in, pal.
You're allowed to. Bridge, man.
Next game's always the biggest game. The next game's the biggest game.
In the context of the two games, one in the league, one in Europe, what's the bigger game?
No, next game. Wherever it is, the next game's the biggest game for us.
Oh, I think they call that sitting in the fence.
Oh, no sitting in the fence. Next game's the biggest game, which is Thursday. Next game, biggest game.
Fox?
Thursday's the biggest game, as it's the first game. I agree with the rest of the boys.
Yeah,
but the thing is, come Sunday, Ox, we need to use our squad again. And when you look back on Sunday there, apart from the opening 11, on the bench we had Candias, who said get game time this season. Sadiq's made cameo appearances. Ross McCrory's played games. Ross Jack's played games. Flanagan had played games. Alnick had played in the friendlies, and as done Middleton. So he is using the squad, and I think it's a good sign when he trusts those on the bench to come in and keep the team ticking over.
Ulster?
Well, for me, it's the league, because I want to win the league more than anything, to be honest with you. But probably if for the board, balance books wise, Thursday for them will be the big one, because that's where the money is, mate. That's where the bigger pot is. But if you ask me at the start of the season, what would you rather do, or rather win or compete in, it's the league for me. I think it's got that long now. We're desperate for a title, mate. So if it was to take a win anywhere out of those two games and only allowed to take one win, it'll be away from Motherwell for me.
Yep. Obviously, the window shuts next week in Scotland, Fox. We need a couple of players, mate, for me, and we are a bit light. We could do with a couple. I mean, it was hard to mouth stuff when Big Katic and Golston were injured on Sunday.
I think the Lafferty deal, although it's dragged on for a wee while, I think that's nearly concluded. We definitely need another centre-half as backup. That's the one. I'm not worried about the Lafferty one getting over the line, mate. We need to find a really good centre-half to back up the two that's got the jerseys at the moment. Get them, we're flying.
Maybe yourself, Gary, the final jigsaw pieces, what are they for you?
I think it's the same. Definitely a striker and a centre defence. Ironically, on Sunday when we seen the guys struggling, with the dead leg and the head injury and stuff like that, I'd thought to myself that might actually be a wee bit of a blessing in disguise. Not that we would be complacent in any way, but when you're on the crest of a wave and the team is fit and the team is very stable and similar each outing, you can maybe just say, I don't think we need anybody. Let's just see how we got on in January. But that was heart in the mouth stuff for sure, to say, wait a minute, man, if these guys go, then we are going to be struggling. We're going to be kind of back to where we were at points of last season. So definitely central defender and a striker.
Ulster, then Rudy.
Yeah, just same as Gary, to be honest. I think centre back as everybody was the same. When Golden got that knock, and obviously when Katic got his head injury, it was heart in the mouth stuff, because what we have basically as backup is a lot younger and inexperienced. So, you have a great partnership there, but take one of them out and then that could fall apart very easily, and our season could fall apart. So I think we need to get someone in of similar quality if we can. I know there's not long left, but if we can, as decent backup, definitely. I think we need another striker because it's the same for Morelos. Big Sadiq for me, just at the minute, doesn't look too comfortable. He maybe will with game time, but I wouldn't like to be relying on him just at the minute if Morelos got injured. So a striker for me, and then obviously you could maybe argue another winger because Murphy's out for 6 months now, but maybe that's being a wee bit greedy. But if we can get those three positions, I'd be delighted. But definitely, first and foremost, centre-back and striker.
Rudy?
I agree with Ulster about another winger, with Jamie Murphy, because I think he's going to be out for quite a long time. Unfortunately, Jamie Murphy, I think it'd be kind of hard to replace, but I can think he's somebody right off the top of my head that I would bring in before the transfer window shuts. If I had my way, the boy Kilmarnock, I'd have him in a minute. So I would. Centre-back wise, we certainly need another centre-back, as Gary and the rest of the guys were saying there. If we lose one of the boys, through injury or suspension, I think that would be a bit of a nightmare, I think, because I don't think what we've got there in the young team is just there, the new, just good enough to step up and get us through maybe a big chunk of the season, depending on how bad the injury would be. Up front, I feel the same about up front as I do with the centre-backs. If Alfredo gets a bad injury, we're stuck up front really just now, But I think by the end of the week, I think Lafferty will be in by the end of the week. So that covers that. But I want to be greedy like Ulster. I want a winger in as well as a good quality centre-back and Lafferty up front.
Bridgerman?
6'5", giant centre-half, left-footed. and somebody he needs to develop a skill, must be mobile. Obviously, that we need the top man. That's what we're looking for. And I would think that he would maybe ask Katic if he's got any cousins. That would go down a treat. So somebody over in the Croatia, Bosnia area might just do as a turn. As far as a replacement for Mr. Murphy, I can't agree with the guys more. But I certainly wouldn't be looking close by here. I'd be looking over where Barisic plays, over in Croatia. Somebody that's good on the left over there again. I think Barisic is a fabulous player, so he must have cousins as well. So somebody around about the same size as him as a replacement for Murphy would do well by me. As far as centre forward's concerned, I ain't too sure. You know how I feel. I don't want to commit myself to anything. If we're going to look for a centre forward, wouldn't be looking in Scotland. But it seems a fait accompli. Based on what the guys are saying, fait accompli that the big man's going to come across. And if he comes, well, good luck to him. That's all I can say. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen. I would rather we went somewhere else and got somebody. But definitely need them.
Do you think we really need a winger, Ox? I mean, we've brought the young boy Middleton into the squad, and we're always going on about give Arane a chance. If Murphy's out and the boy Kent isn't hacking, I wouldn't have two qualms about putting the boy Middleton in. He's strong on the ball, he's pacey, and he can pick out a cross, mate. I would be looking towards him now.
And also, what would your cover be in the right? Would it be that if something was to happen to Candias, you move Tavwan on and play Flanagan? Would that be a cover for that?
That's a possibility, but hopefully no other one of them gets injured. Both Middleton and Kent, I think, could equally play in the right if Candias get injured, mate.
I mean, I definitely think we need a centre-back. I'm just going to go around the panel now quickly in the last few minutes. Big Sadiq, I think he's going to be an entertainer. I think he's going to score goals that will probably left scratching my head, but he's also going to leave his scratch my head for different reasons. Bridgeman.
I think the young lad, we've spoken about him before on here, and he still, to me, looks a bit gangly, and that's a term I'm going to use. But he's a huge, massive, big, tall fella, So once that guy gets into his stride, providing the ball actually runs in front of him, if he has to stop and try to get his feet around the ball, he's not going to get there. So if he can play with the ball in front of him, and he'll shock a lot of people, that's for sure. And I reckon he'll score a few goals. But as much as he said there, until such times as we see him playing 3 or 4 weeks in a row, for instance, even if as a substitute, and you start to get confidence in what he can do, it'll be better for the fans to see that. Other than that, well, he's just going to be a big gangly centre forward, in my opinion. If we don't see him playing properly, then he's just going to be that.
He's got pace, Gary. He's definitely got pace, but then you've got to take the ball with you.
Yeah. I think the nail was just hit right on the head there. You know, he definitely does need some game time. He's got pace. He doesn't look short of confidence in terms of when he comes on. He wants to get mixed in there and you know, get in amongst it. But a lot of the times, you know, I'm the same as everyone else. I'm left scratching my head thinking I don't even know what he was trying there, never mind what actually happened. So while that will be entertaining when the team is doing well, from a reliance perspective, it doesn't bode well from a confidence and perspective for me right now.
Rudy, then Ulster.
I think he's going to be a wee bit, like you say, he's going to be entertaining at times, you know, because I think he's the kind of he looks like the style of player, Ox, that he sometimes doesn't know what he's going to do with the ball when he gets it. He's certainly got pace. We saw that in the friendly match, you know. I don't think I've seen anybody move as quickly as that up the park. Huge burst of pace. I think he needs game time. He got 90 minutes against Falkirk there last week, so he did. I don't know how well he actually played in that game, but I know he got the 90 minutes. I think he's still a bit behind, though. You know, but he could be one of the kind of players that will really come on to a game. We don't know that yet. I don't think you're at a club like Roma if you're no good enough, you know, to cut it at a good level, a top level. And we might see the best of him yet, you know, once he gets fully match fit. They have a wee bit anxious, you know, just as I said with Morelos up front on his own just now. If anything was to happen to Alfredo, could Sadiq cut it? Remains to be seen for me, I'm afraid.
Ulster?
Yeah, I think we heard it in the papers from people at the last club he was at in Holland that there is times of brilliance and there's times you're going, what is he trying to even do, you know? And I think we've seen most of the what is he trying to do moments so far with him. But the team he played for, when he actually seemed to score most of his goals against the top sides. But you notice with his pace, he was using his pace when they were on counter-attacks, when the other team was attacking. Obviously, his team countered. He got the ball. Once his legs got moving, he was very good. I think the problem for him maybe in Scotland is teams sit back so much. So he's having to actually take the ball and try and beat players. And sometimes you see him getting a wee bit, well, I don't know, tangled in his own legs would be the best way to put it. But he'll have to learn that because, you know, counter-attacking, you won't get it most times in Scotland. You won't get the time on the ball because people's on you straight away. So he'll just have to adapt his game. But I think we've seen enough at the minute to think that he's maybe not just ready if Morelos was to get injured to lead our attack. I think that's why most of us want another striker in.
Foxy boy.
When I've seen him, I think he looks like, and he is a young boy in a man's body. I don't think he's managed to adjust yet, playing in sort of under 23, under 21 games into the full professional mode that there is in Scotland, where you're getting rough tackled, pushed, everything else that goes on. I don't think he's managed to cope with that yet, but give him another couple of months, mate, and we might see something better of him.
Be interesting how it pans out, and obviously we don't know who's going to come into the pack for the youth. Steven Gerrard and the team there. There could be some late lad there. We've got Middleton pushing forward. We could have another one coming forward at any time, Gary.
Yeah, I think it's been proven over the last few years that I don't think there's a shortage of boys there that are ready to come in and certainly make an impact in the short term. We've had a fairly steady stream, you know, conveyor belt of players coming through, and you know, testimony to the work that the guys are doing at the under-20s level there to get them ready and prepared. And I know that Stevie has been at a lot of these youth games as well, and coming from his under-18 coaching experience at Liverpool, you would like to think that he has a bit of a keen eye on, you know, how best to use these players and when to use them and when to give them a break and things like that. The Ross McCrory interview yesterday I thought was interesting, where, you know, he was basically saying that the manager has spoke to him and said he has to make sure that he doesn't get burnt out. But he's just chomping at the bit. I'll play anywhere, and as long as I get on the team, I'm desperate to play. But the manager's already tempered his expectations to say, I know what I'm doing. I've been where you are. Trust me, you'll get game time, you'll get development time, and if I would be shocked if there wasn't another, handful of boys that could stop some gaps for us in terms of, holes in the team as the season goes on.
Ulster?
Yeah, I think Jerry's right, mate. I think Gerard, if they're good enough, mate, he'll not care too much about their age. He'll give them a chance. We've seen that with Middleton, and Middleton looked really, really good when he come on. I think that's why we're hoping the same goes for Zach Rudden. You might see him featuring a wee bit this season as well. But it's about the pressure. Can they cope with it? You have to wait and see. But he does seem to score a lot of goals at the level that he's playing at the minute, and he did score one for us, I think, against Bury as well when he came on. So yeah, well, that's what we want. We want these young players coming through, because we can't keep throwing millions all the time, every single window at it. We just can't keep doing that. We need to try and develop our own players. But as Gary says, when you look at the results they're having, it does look promising.
Rudy Bear.
Aye, certainly. I mean, there's 2 or 3 probably. I mean, Zach Rudden, Middleton. Zach Rudden got a run out, didn't he, in the friendly as well. He looks a very promising prospect, young Zach. I think he's called up now to the Scotland team, young Zach. I think it was the under-19s he was called up for. I think there was about 5 of them all in, maybe 6, 5 at least, I think, were called up. Rangers players called up to the under-19s. So, aye, there's promise there. But my thing about them is, can you depend on them to get you through a long, hard season in Scotland, Not so sure whether they're ready to take that next step, because it is a big step, Ox,
Here, mate. Talking about long, hard seasons, mate, it's hard to believe, but we've reached that time already. Bridgman.
Well, what can I say? What a fabulous night, and a big shout out to Gary and Narsa. So thank you very much, for me anyway, and I dare say from a lot of other Rangers fans. So from all the Rangers fans all over the world, which includes Gary and his tribe over there, but particularly to the Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, every single one of us, please, keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers needs us.
Yeah, Bridge, can I thank Bridge, Fox, Rudy Bear and Ulster, but more importantly, Gary Gillan, who's joined us all the way from Calgary, Canada, who's the president of the NASA, North American Ranger Supporters Association. It's been a pleasure to have Gary on the show. I hope he won't be a stranger. Thanks to everybody for listening. Gary, if you could tag on for a few minutes.
Sure.
This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 9 and 11, talking about all things Rangers.
See them march on, marching on through the years of history. Heads held on high, for the Jersey they would do or die. Fight for right, play the game with the badge of glory. Win, lose or draw, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. See them march on, banners high as they fly before you, loyal and true, on their way to cheer the boys in blue. Follow they will, marching on to the songs of glory. Win, lose or draw, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. See